This is one of my favorite characters. So if you want to hear any piece of lore whatsoever, make sure you're in the Discord, because once a week I ask a question, and the first person to get the question right gets to pick this week's lore. And this week's lore, coming to us from Fallout 3, is one of my favorite characters, Confessor Cromwell. The prophet of Atom, the father of the undying glow. A preacher of the children of Adam. The prophet and the father, those are two things that he's referred to by the church, by the children of Adam, by the cult, if you will. This is the cult that currently resides in Megaton inside of the year of 2277. It's a sect inside of Megaton. Confessor Cromwell is a 44-year-old man. He did some traveling in his youth and later settled down in the town of Megaton. Say what you want about any religion. And I've spoken about a person I work with before on the show in a full episode before, a fella who was a Mormon, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And if there's anything I believe that those people do correctly, is they send their people out to travel. He was telling me, the person I work with said that his dad learned Chinese, he learned Mandarin because he spent time in China because of being on a mission. Now, say what you want about why they're there. The fact that they get to travel is awesome. And that's just, I would love to, like he said, his one cousin was heading to Germany. And I was like, hey, why don't you go hang out with him? Why don't you go visit Germany? And he told me he wasn't going to do that for some reason. I don't remember why. But I think travel for anybody is important, and especially a religious person, because you get more perspective on life. The church allowed him, the children of Adam allowed him to stay in Megaton with a blessing of the preacher who preceded him, the predecessor of him. He gave a blessing. He gave a blessing that Confessor Cromwell could stay here. Predecessor isn't given a name, but he's the one who taught him the way of Adam. He taught him the good word. He taught him what it is to be a part of the children of Adam. And because of this, he took it in such a way where he became the next head of the children of Adam inside of Megaton. He proved himself to be a member of the community. And I think no matter what you want to say, again, I'm not pro and I'm not anti-religion. And I'm trying to approach this as middle of the road as I can. Any good religion, any good following should be helping the community. It should be from within, making even the smallest of small changes inside of the community to lift up every member. And he proved himself to be a helpful member of the community. And if you're helping, I don't think it really should matter what you believe in. As long as you're helping out people, you're not going out of your way to actively hurt another human. And he is married to Mother Maya. The two of them dress in the style of the cult, which I think is important too, because it's been a while since I've looked at a Bible. But if I remember correctly, Jesus not only hung out with the prostitutes and with the lepers and with those that didn't have money, but he dressed in the same style. He didn't have silken robes. He had the commoner's clothing. And, I'm not saying you should cosplay being poor, but if somebody sees you the same way that they see themselves, you believe them easier. Like if I'm walking down the street and I'm feeling sketched out, I'm not going to believe the dude in the suit. I'm going to believe the dude who's in some dungarees and a tee or a hoodie or something. There was something that struck me. And again, I've been trying to not talk about religion in such a positive or negative way doing this, but there's a quote that I wrote down directly that I'd like to share with the class that struck me. And I feel like that's what a good religious teacher should be. And it says, "The only advice that I can offer to you is this. You will find no wealth greater in the wasteland, greater than that which you will find inside yourself. Bask in Adam's glow and you will understand." And I feel like that's something that, especially today, we don't really hear. And if we hear it, it's kind of backhanded and regurgitated from something else. The idea of you have so much more power, like the happiness that you want is from within. And the value and worth that you will find is from within. Not to get too personal during the lore segment, but I had so many friends back home that I feel like they had the mindset of, if I could just find me a girlfriend, it would fix me. And it was so hard to explain. It has nothing to do with being in a relationship and everything to do with you. You have to decide that it's time for you to be happy. And I feel like he's saying that in more or less words. And if to him Adam's glow is what did that for him, then he's going to pass that on. But for other people, it could be cooking or writing or podcasting. It could be anything else. And I don't know, this like in a weird way, I was reading the lore and this like struck me. He believes that each person that is lost is on their own way and on their own path. Again, another piece of just growing up, growing old. How are you going to figure out where you are? And especially when you live in such a landscape that is the capital wasteland, it's so dreary. It's so desolate. There's nothingness. Like, it's lousy with nothingness. I enjoy the nothingness, but that's because it's a video game. If I lived there, I'd probably hate it. Very much akin to how Tandy is in Fallout 1. She just wants to leave Shady Sands. Then she gets kidnapped. But still, she just wants to leave. She wants to see what else is out there. It's dangerous, but she's bored because of the safety she has there. And, you know, maybe as a kid I heard this line of dialogue and I just don't remember hearing it for the first time, and it stood with me. Cromwell and Maya treat Gob, the ghoul inside of Moriarty's saloon, with reverence, with respect, with patience, because of their religious belief. And I really appreciate that. Not just because I love ghouls in this game, in this franchise, but because I love the idea that Gob has 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people inside of Megaton that actually treat him with respect. Moriarty's a piece of shit. Like I said a little earlier in the episode that this lore segment is a part of, I'm playing Fallout 3, and I really want to get rid of Moriarty just so Gob can be in control. I don't know what I'm going to do with Megaton, but even if he gets a little bit of peace and importance for a little while, I'll be very happy. Now, I get all of my lore off of fallout.fandom.com, and there's some notes and some quick stuff that I wanted to read directly off the wiki for you. This note here, I remember being different. I remember this being something that might have been patched in later. Cromwell, like all non-player characters, is immune to radiation, and therefore does not succumb to radiation poisoning despite being constantly irradiated. I remember that as if you stood there long enough and watched him, he would die of radiation poisoning. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been playing this game for 14 years. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this game over those 14 years. I remember hearing that or seeing that somewhere. I know I didn't do it myself, but I remember hearing this. Am I wrong? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe that got patched. There's a few Megaton settlers that go there and watch Confessor Cromwell every single day. Even if he has died, they still just kind of go and stand around the bomb. I like to believe that they were friends and they've started playing like card games or something together, and that's how they met, was listening to Confessor Cromwell, and one guy's like, what a load of barnacles. And they just became friends. Confessor Cromwell says that if you're part of the Children of Adam, you have to be a pacifist and sober, but inside of his office, there's a little church. It might be behind me. I believe it will be behind me at some point. Now it's behind me. Let's do that. Now the church is behind me. Inside of his office, you can find a 10 millimeter and a bottle of whiskey. Cromwell is part of the Children of Adam who worship the bomb inside of Megaton. I don't know how I didn't bring this up till now. Will object to detonating the bomb or getting rid of the nuclear charge or disabling the nuclear charge inside of the bomb. And if you do disarm it, he doesn't think negatively of you. He just kind of never brings it up. Cromwell will never stop talking in-game as long as he's listened to. In Far Harbor, Confessor Texas refers to Cromwell as Adam's great prophet. I remember that. He appears only in Fallout 3 and Fallout Shelter and is mentioned in Far Harbor, like I said. I remember very early on, I've told this story before, during the E3 that they showed Fallout 3 off, I remember watching that and seeing Todd Howard talk about how you can collect books in the game, and every time you read a book, you get a little smarter. And I remember exploring Megaton. It was the first time I was ever in there, and I went into the Church of Adam. And I picked up every single book that was in there, and I remember like crouching around and trying to like take things off desks and like just learning the mechanics. This is also the first like RPG, open world RPG that wasn't Pokemon that I'd ever played. So everything about it was just foreign to me, and I was figuring it out slowly. And I remember going through the church and picking up every single book that was there and trying to read it and not getting anything out of it. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have for you fine folks. This was Confessor Cromwell from Fallout 3, and that, my friends, is this week's lore. Hey, hi, it's Vince. I hope you enjoyed that video you just watched. If you'd like to support in any sort of way, in the description below there's links to my Twitter, the show's Twitter, and the Patreon. You could support at any level, and you could be on screen like some of the names are currently. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching, and if you get a chance, check out another one of my videos. I'd really appreciate it. Share it with a friend. Cool. I'll see you guys later. Be safe. I love you. Bye.